When I became a widow, I was only 26. And being in a marriage at a young age, hindi pala siya madali, mahirap siya.
Yes, pero yung magiging mga problems moving forward, hindi ko pa masyado naisip
Hindi
yun.
mo na pala
Ang nasa
naplano
isip
yun.
ko lang is I wanna marry you.
Who would wanna marry someone who already has a child? Siyempre gusto mo yung wala.
Hi, I'm Anthony Pangilinan,
And I'm Maricel, Laxa-Pangilinan.
and welcome to Marriage is a Marathon.
The Podcast Season 2.
Woo! Okay, kung dati po kami dalawa lang nag-uusap, diba? Ngayon, we are joined in this season with other couples to share their own experiences and lessons in being together.
Yes, dumaan sila sa mga pagsubok, sa mga to love again. Tapos,
Wow, again.
nagkaroon ng mga breakthrough sa buhay nila at nandito sila ngayon.
So, welcome to Marriage is a Marathon, the podcast. Let us run this one.
Step at a time.
In today's podcast, we have as guests VJ and Camille Yambao.
Yay!
Reveal!
Congratulations on season 2!
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Fellow podcast.
Thank you, thank you.
Diba? Staying afloat, tama ba?
Yes.
Yes.
So, how many years married?
9.
9. No, kailangan kong magbilang mabuti. Ayoko
Yeah,
magkamali.
hindi pwede magkamali.
Hindi pwede
9
9
years
years.
married.
By God's grace, 9 years na po.
So, maraming mga tao kilala si Camille na host, actress, pero siguro ilan sa kanila hindi nakakaalam yung mga pinagdaanan mo na mga pagsubok sa buhay. Tapos ngayon, meron kang business na lumalago, tapos mag-asawa kayo. Pero kwento mo muna, paano nangyari yung nagkaroon ka ng heartbreak? Tapos lumabot ulit ng puso mo para to love again.
Iba kasi dyan, pag nagmahal at nasaktan, ayaw nang umibig muli.
That's true, that's true. When I became a widow, I was only 26. So back then, parang for me talaga, it's like, it felt like a dream. It really felt like a dream na parang there were days that I couldn't really understand or parang feeling ko, totoo ba to? Talaga bang nangyayari to? But there are moments also that it felt real because there's a preparation somehow because he was sick for a year. The bout of battling cancer took a year. And syempre in that moment, you'll see where it's going, where it's heading. But syempre in denial ka pa rin. You'd hope for the best. So when that happened, and I became a widow, with all honesty, I no longer had any plans of remarrying. Because parang for me, being in a marriage, I was married at 22. And that's really young. And parang a lot has happened also. I was pregnant first and then we got married. So it was hard to swallow all those things all at once. And being in a marriage at a young age, hindi pala siya madali, mahirap siya. So I witnessed marriage firsthand.
Yan
So,
hindi yan madali.
hindi talaga. Especially when you feel that you're not really ready for it yet. And I feel like most of us, enter marriage thinking we're ready, but once you're there, parang shocks, ibang-iba to sa expectations ko. So, having, experienced all that, parang sabi ko, nako, wala nang makakabudol sa aking mag-asawa ulit. That's really what I told myself.
Budulan lang pala ito.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get married anymore. It's really hard. It's not easy. And, parang my goal was to just raise Nathan. To just work and provide for him. But marriage really was not something I wanted to do.
So, si Nathan was what? 3, 4 years
About
old.
to turn 4. Yes.
Tema na. Meron akong backstory alam dito eh. Not ready. Nung grade 2 kayo, di rin kayo ready nun, di ba? Kasi alam ko,
Bata pa sila no?
pero doon nagsimula lahat ito ha. This is a story of reconnection. Ang balita ko nung grade 2 sila, may crush na sila sa isa't isa. No, it really was grade 2. Tama ba?
Yes.
Magkaklase kayo nun.
Magka-classmates po kami.
So can you tell us how it was then?
So, apparently, ito po yung ginagawa niya yung Princess Sarah. Maraming tao alam, ito yung season na yon.
Google nyo na lang yung Princess
Yes,
Sarah.
so grade 2 kami noon.
Hindi nakakaalam.
We were in grade 2 and it's very vivid in my mind. In our minds, actually. Pinag-uusapan namin to maya't maya. Na, love, you remember that panahon na nandun tayo. We were in the classroom. So nakaupo ako dito, tapos nandun siya sa may harap ko. Pero mga 2 o'clock ko. So every time na wala siya masyadong gamit sa school. Wala siyang paper.
Always absent.
Oo,
so
kasi
every time I would
showbiz.
go, walang
Yan.
pencil,
To shoot
walang
eh.
papel.
So syempre, I took advantage. No, not
There's a
I
gap.
took
There's a
advantage.
gap. There's a need.
Yes.
And you
So,
want to meet somebody else's
exact
deepest need.
Yes. Tama. Tama.
Ako kasi rin yun.
So eto paper, eto yung bibigay ako. Sabi niya hindi daw ako mapang-asar.
Yeah, he was that guy classmate na hindi nang iinis. He was just
Bakit
nice
may
to
iba
me.
bang nang iinis sa'yo?
May mga nang aasar, yun ang kukulitin ka, iinisin ka, but he was just generally nice.
Grabe no, pinapansin ka, hindi ka iniinis, binibigyan ka ng kagamitan. Pa?
Ano ba?
Pero
Provider ka na pala. Grade 2 ka pala.
Diba?
pero yung kwento na this was our conversation, really vivid. So sabi ko, I'm gonna go to a different city. Magmo-move out na kami because we live in Manila that time. So we're gonna move somewhere in the east. Tapos sinabi ko yung village, ito yung village na pupuntahan namin. Tapos sabi niya, yung lola ko, meron ding bahay dyan. Sabi ko, wow,
Same village.
what street?
Ay.
So sabi niya, yung street na yun. So sabi ko, oh, okay. So every afternoon, during summer, I would go there and bike. Hoping na makikita ko siya. But it didn't happen.
We never saw
each other.
For that long period of a time.
Yeah,
He
decades.
moved to a different school. He left na that school. We were classmates only 1 year. It's just grade 2.
So, kailan kayo ulit nagkita?
2012.
years. Yeah.
After.
Yes.
You were a widow already.
Yes.
Yes.
Dun na.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Diba?
Balita ako
ito lang ang mga
rin.
signs. Diba?
May white santan flower. Tapos, later on, may white butterfly. Ano ba itong mga signs na
okay.
to? Is it part of your healing? Is it part of the confirmation? Ano ba to? Siya ba nagpadala niyan?
Actually, ano yun eh. Pero
No.
it was those days. Siyempre, di ba, when you're young, may mga nagsasabi sa'yo, uy, humingi ako ng sign. So ako, parang ginawa, totoo ba yung mga yan? So, I'm like, sige nga, subukan natin to. So the first sign that I asked was, VJ didn't have anything to do with this yet. It was the white santan flower. Because it was, I think, Valentine's Day. So, syempre, uso yung mga bulaklak. So, parang sabi ko, whoever will give me a white flower, flowers na puti. I didn't say which kind. I just said puting bulaklak. So, to cut the story short, that day, Valentine's Day, I was then dating my late husband, si Anthony, and then he didn't give me any flowers at all. And then at night, when he was heading home, yung mommy ko dun sa garden niya sa bahay, may mga santan na bulaklak. So, he picked one and he gave me. So, parang it dawned on me na parang I forgot na about the sign that I asked. So, when he gave me that white small flower, na-realize ko na, shocks, ito yung sign na hiningi ko. But then I'm like, baka naman nagkataon lang. And eventually, yeah, he became my husband. So that was the first one. And then, so, after that, so, when Anthony passed away, ako naman parang, I'm just really home. I like being home. I like watching my favorite series. And when VJ and I reconnected, he was actually in the States. So, we were just like messaging each other.
Online na ba to?
Oh, parang messaging lang. Pero text lang. And then, he started calling. So sabi ko, hala, may tawag na. Parang ready na ba akong marinig yung voice niya? Kasi parang level up na yung calling, diba? So parang I was so nervous to answer the phone. I remember I was home and then I was so nervous, mga 10 na ng gabi yun. And then I went out dun sa may maliit na garden outside our home. And then I just really prayed na parang, because I was really scared also, being a widow and all. Tapos parang getting into this scene na you're getting to know someone, parang it feels a bit weird na parang you're back to doing that again. So parang, I just really prayed na parang, I don't wanna do anything that's, kung mag-aaksaya lang ako ng panahon, parang wag na lang. I don't wanna waste my time. But at the same time, he was really very nice. He would consistently like message me every single day, and it really felt nice. So that time,
ng pencil, tsaka nagpapadala.
Yeah.
so parang sabi ko lang talaga na parang, if this is a good thing for me to do, or kung i-entertain ko tong tao na to, sabi ko, just, at least give me a sign.
Ito na.
Anything white. Sabi ko na lang, anything white. Anything white. I'm no longer specific na kasi ba kung anong puti pa yung makita ko. Gabing-gabi na. Sabi ko na lang kahit ano. And then, I remember picking up the phone and I was outside. And then while I was talking to him, I saw a white butterfly circling me. Natakot talaga ako. Tumakbo talaga ako sa loob. But then I kind of like,
May
medyo,
peace.
parang it's just odd that you ask for something and it happened. So parang ayaw mong maniwala pero it's there. So maybe that was that.
Ako kamukha pa niya yung butterfly. Well, simple
Sobra
lang yung
na
mga
yun.
signs na to.
Yeah.
Diba? But the act of coming back together,
Yeah.
and actually starting again, hindi simple yun. Diba? So how was that? How was that for you to even think about na, can it work? You have your family, nasaktan ito, namatayan. What was it that said, I want to pursue this? Apart from the sign, importante yung sign, nakakatulong yun, pero paano mo na desisyon na ipupursue ko to in spite of all the complications that you both had?
Well, siguro yung perspective ko. Yung perspective ko kasi was going back to grade 2. Gusto ko talaga siya.
May unresolved issues siya.
Kumbaga parang, for me,
This is it,
my perspective before was, it's impossible for me na magiging kami. So, nung nakita ko siya ulit and our paths crossed again, sabi ko, hindi ko napapakawalan to. Gusto ko na talaga siyang pakasalan nung unang meet namin.
No.
That's true.
Hindi ka pa nagte-text? Nung unang meet, nung grade?
Nung unang meet namin in the US as adults.
Nakita kayo sa US.
Sabi ko, gusto ko na
Hindi
magpakasal.
ka connected with anybody there? Wala. At that point, nung nakita kayo ulit?
Wala.
Wala. Okay.
Wala kaming connections or anything.
Na ikaw, wala kang partner nun?
Wala na.
Wala na rin.
So, malinis na yon. So, going back, so gusto ko na siyang pakasalan noon. And then, nung pumunta siya, I was in the US. So, nandun siya, magka-text kami for a month. And then, we both decided to meet. So, she flew. And then, doon ko siya gustong pakasalan na. Sabi ko, hindi na kita pwedeng mapakawalan pa.
Hindi ka napapauwi.
Hindi na kita pauwiin. Pero, syempre, in the back of my mind lang yun. And then, yun, nag-usap na kami constantly. Tapos, naging kami na, syempre. And then, it got deeper. So, nag-LDR din kami. So, we had an LDR for about
2-3 years more.
No, 5 years lang. On and off yun.
2012 when we got together, we got married 2017.
No.
So
Okay.
So I proposed right away para at least I have the intention of, marrying you. I'm not playing games. I want to marry. I want to be together. Yun
Pero
yung...
nag-decision ka sa isip na ito na to.
Yeah.
Alam mong complicated. Alam mong blended ang mangyayari sa inyo.
You know what,
hindi lang couple ito,
But
pamilya nang magsasama rito.
Yes. Pero yung magiging mga problems moving forward, hindi ko pa masyado naisip
Hindi
yun.
mo
Ang nasa
naplano
isip
yun.
ko lang is I wanna marry you.
Oo.
I wanna marry you.
Ito na.
Yun na yun.
Hindi ko na kailangan ng sign.
Yeah. Ito na yun.
You are my sign. Yun na yun.
I think
Hindi, tsaka I think from the very beginning, you made it clear na buy one, get one. Get two. Oh, buy one, get two. Tama ba yun? Buy one, get one.
Buy one, get one.
yes.
Oo. So, kasi kasama na yung anak mo si Nathan. So, this was clear with you.
That was very clear with
Oo.
me.
So, kailangan matanggap ni
Yes,
VJ
yes.
si Nathan. At si Nathan, the same.
Yes. I think yun din yung reason ko why parang feeling ko nung una na ayoko nang mag-asawa. Kasi parang feeling ko na kung mahihirapan na akong makahanap ng asawa kasi may +1 na ako eh.
Oo.
'Di ba? Ideally, who would wanna marry someone who already has a child? Siyempre gusto mo yung wala. And then, I remember when VJ and I started seeing each other, may +1 din siya. So, di ba parang, yung pinasok talaga namin, parang yung pinasok talaga namin, gulo talaga. Yung parang, I remember one person telling me na parang, Camille, may chance ka namang magkaroon ng partner na walang +1. Kumbaga, ba't kumuha ka pa ng may sakit sa ulo ka na nga? That's the exact term. Sakit sa ulo na nga yung sitwasyon mo, humanap ka pa ng sakit sa ulo din.
Yung mga anak nyo ba, hindi ba inisip na sakit sa ulo tong bagong magulang kong ito? Oh, did they also struggle? Did they go through that thinking process na kaya pa natin to magsama with another family? I mean, how were they part of the
Were
decision?
they even given a choice?
They were small.
Oo.
They were small. Nathan was 4.
Ice was like 7 and
8 and 7.
8.
So wala pa silang ganong thinking. Pero siguro dahil bata sila, they got along with each other easily.
Okay.
With sa amin din. Kasi
Biglang
syempre,
nagkalaro sila.
yes.
I think that's one of our greatest blessings also.
Friendship.
Na when they came together, when we introduced them, because they're both, isang anak lang eh.
Oo.
So when they got together, they were really instant friends or brothers.
So parang confirmation na rin yun.
Somehow.
Dapat ituloy na natin.
Ang problema talaga kaming adults, parang looking back now, kami talaga yung may mga challenges, kami yung may mga pahirap, but sila, every time they're together, they're just instantly happy.
Bukas talaga ang isip ng bata.
Bata, madali
Yeah.
talaga sila.
Sarado ko minsan, di ba? We're the ones who closed our
Sadly.
minds and
And it's
hearts.
not easy when you have people telling you sakit ng ulo yan.
Yeah.
You know, but on the other side, pagka sinabihan ka ng ganun, it's also good for you to take caution. Pag-isipan, step back, pag-aralan, para hindi kayo kailangan dumaan sa mas marami pang pagsubok.
Yes.
Pero yung sinasabi mong mas mahirap sa inyong dalawa was not just the beginning, di ba? So, even the process. So, we have a lot of people here nag-iisip, kaya ko ba to? Di ba? Itutuloy ba natin ito? Should I hope again? Should I love again? Should I vow again? So, anong tips natin from both of you as a couple? Sa mga nag-iisip, ibe-blend ba natin ito?
Yeah.
Di ba? Yes.
For me, siguro, coming from like being a single mom, one of the first things that I looked for in a partner, kasi syempre hindi mo naman may isip agad yun na, uy, pag naghanap ako ng boyfriend, gusto ko asawa. Some people, they aspire talaga na mabigyan ng pamilya yung anak nila. Especially kung talagang single ka lang, tas parang hindi kompleto. So one of the things that I really was very sure of was that non-negotiable yung anak ko. And I'm very, very watchful of red flags. Like, if I see at one point na hindi tinanggap ng partner ko,
pa lang.
yung anak ko,
parang
out na yun.
uncomfortable siya,
Yes,
medyo,
kasi you'll see it eh.
Oo.
You'll see it in small ways. Syempre sa umpisa, best foot forward yan. So, kailangan mong makita yun. Because sometimes you're so blinded by love and parang feeling mo, ayoko na to, ito na siguro talaga yun. Second, you might compromise also na wala nang ibang tatanggap sa akin, so pwede na to.
Yeah.
So, those things,
Don't
talagang,
settle.
Yeah. Do not. Kasi yung nagsasuffer yung bata. So parang for me, one of the things that I looked for in VJ was that I really wanted to see and make sure natanggap niya si Nathan 100%. And one small sign that I see na shindrag niya or hindi niya in-include or in-exclude niya yung si Nathan would be something na hindi ko iti-take for granted.
Hindi mo
Natural ba
papalampasin.
sa iyo yun, BJ, na tanggapin ng ibang tao, lalo na kung magiging anak mo? How was that for you?
Siguro para sa akin, if you are genuine, yung pagmamahal mo dun sa babae or sa lalaki, if it's
Love conquers.
if it's genuine, lahat tatanggapin mo eh. In the beginning, kung alam mong meron siyang +1, then kailangan alam mo na kasama rin yun. Hindi lang pwedeng yung wife or hindi lang
Kasi
pwede yung
naman dadalhin yung anak kung
Exactly.
hindi kasama yun. Diba?
Exactly. So, kailangan, kung totoo yung nararamdaman mo para sa kanya, you have to include that +1 also.
What's your encouragement to husbands or future husbands considering to try the blended way?
Well, it's not for everyone. It's not easy. But for me to encourage you is that in the first part of your relationship, kailangan clear sa'yo. Kailangan clear sa'yo na, hey, meron tong +1. I have to include this +1. Hindi lang yung wife ko.
Tanggap mo dapat.
Kailangan tanggapin mo yon, first step pa lang. Kung sa first step pa lang hindi ka na okay, then
Sinasabi
don't
mong non-negotiable.
Huwag mo pilitin.
then don't mo
Kasama
pilitin.
siya sa plano. Pag-aaralin mo yung batang yon, palalakihin mo yung
Yes.
batang yon, magpo-provide ka sa batang yon. And that's very different from starting a nuclear family when it's just the two of you.
Oo.
So kapag tinanggap mo yung bata, dapat na-foresee mo na mag-aaral to, may baon to, yung needs na yun, lahat i-embrace mo yun eh. Hindi mo yun parang, ay hindi ko na-compute yan sa plano ko. Hindi pwedeng gano'n.
Oo.
So since our podcast is called Marriage is a Marathon, in a marathon, eventually you hit a wall sa 30th kilometer. Pero when you hit that wall, you can do two things. One is to give up. Another one is to keep going. So para sa'yo, Camille, sinasabi ninyo nga na dumaan kayo sa mga pagsubok sa inyong dalawa.
Di pa tapos yan.
Ano yung masasabi mo na kapag bigay sa'yo ng second wind para malampasan yung wall na yun?
Or third, or fourth win.
Yes.
For us is when we both started seeking the Lord together. We've been married, I think, during the pandemic for 3 years. 3 years.
2017
pala.
eh.
Yeah, 2017 we got married. And then 2020 was the pandemic. And nung 3 years na yun, parang feeling ko nagsistruggle na kami. Na parang ang hirap nito Araw-araw may away. Yung away doesn't have to be big. It can be small. Pero yung resentment, ang lalim.
Yep.
And I share this with him. Sabi ko, alam mo love, ako kasi hindi ako confrontational na tao, but I would remember that every time I would take a shower and it's so quiet, lahat ng galit ko kay VJ dun lumalabas. Lahat ng resentment ko sa kanya, ganito ka, tapos kung ano, yung parang dun ko siya inaaway.
Sabon din natin.
Kaya nga eh.
Dun ko siya,
So hindi na siya naligo. Hindi na siya naligo.
Dun ko siya inaaway.
Maligo.
Actually, mabilis lang. Pero parang
Bubble
it's
bath.
probably in those moments where all these thoughts
Yeah.
come to me. And I remember na every time I would be, pag natapos na ako, paglabas ko, pag nakikita ko siya, yung ang lalim nung inis ko sa kanya na parang, kasi hindi ko siya masabi. Hindi ko siya ma-communicate kasi alam ko mag-aaway kami. So that's like 3 years into marriage.
Kala ko 7 years.
And then, ito na yung time na,
Kinabahan
7-year each pala.
Hanggat ngayon pa.
so, it was also the time na, syempre, ayun na, blended family kami, nadagdagan na yung anak namin. So, we were like raising 2 big kids and 2 little ones and a newborn. And then it's pandemic. So, all those stresses into our marriage. Tas hindi pa kami magkaintindihan. So, parang feeling ko, shucks, 3 years, pero parang ba't ang tagal-tagal na? But something changed in us was when we started seeking the Lord together.
Together.
Because-
Together.
Sino
By
nag-desisyon
God's
maging
grace.
together?
Actually, siya mo nauna eh.
Okay.
So dahil meron kaming competitive spirit nito, nagising to one time. Paano nangyari nun?
Yeah.
Siya yung naunang nagising, para mga 6 o'clock nagising siya. So ako yung naiwan sa mga bata. And the second day, sabi ko hindi pwede. So nagising ako ng 5 a.m. So I started reading the Word.
Yes.
I started
Kasi
having my
shared with
Devo.
him. I shared with him, sabi ko, love, sabi ko, kasi usually, late kami matulog, late kami magising. Like,
Yeah, yun yung routine eh.
Not good habits. We weren't working out, we weren't eating healthy, all those things. And then sabi ko, I have to start reading the Bible because the pandemic really clicked something in my heart na si Lord lang talaga to, wala nang iba. It doesn't have anything to do with if you're rich, you're poor, you're old, you're young, you're healthy, you're not. If it's your time, it's your time. So it's really in my heart na parang, Lord, ikaw lang yung kayang gumawa nito. And we've been Christians for a long time, but not really like,
Living it out.
Really seeking Him.
yeah, living it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have to start reading the Word. So one morning, I woke up early, 6 o'clock. I opened the Bible. And then I shared the things that I read to him. I'm like, love, this, ganito pala si Lord, ganyan. And then the next day, so I was into my new habit of waking up. Pagkising ko, kasi syempre someone has to be with the kids.
Right.
Wala siya sa kama. Sabi ko, asan yun? Yun pala nandun na siya sa baba. He also opened the Bible and he started reading.
Kasi nasa isip niya, ako naman dapat ang mag-share, di ba? Ako naman dapat ang mauna. Ako naman dapat ang mag-lead.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yeah.
That's using your competitive spirit.
In a good way.
Advantage.
In a good way. In a good
Saan
way.
papunta ang marathon ninyo? Kung 42 kilometers yan, anong kilometer na kayo sa palagay ninyo?
Oh my gosh.
We're just starting, I guess. We're
7
just
years,
starting.
oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Nine. Actually, nine. We're
9
turning 10 this year.
Okay.
10 next year.
So warm up ba kayo? Warm up?
Siguro hindi. Medyo siguro mga nasa
Hindi naman
anong
warm up.
kilometer. Hindi na,
my
medyo
gosh,
may
ang tagal
pagod
naman ng
na
warm up
to.
na yun.
Oo, siguro mga nasa na tayo.
A third
Yeah.
of the
Probably.
run. Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. And what do you look forward to as we wrap up our time as a blended couple now seeking the Lord together and running this marathon? Kung third, so nasa ano kayo? 12, 13, 14, no, 15 kilometer na kayo. What are you looking forward to?
Siguro ako yung, conflict is inevitable. There will always be conflict wherever we go, especially in our marriage, in our family, in parenting. Siguro yung one thing that we practice, both of us, is being humble. Yung panahon na, ayaw mo mag-sorry dahil feeling mo ikaw yung nasaktan, ikaw yung na-hurt, ikaw yung tama. But then again, the word reminds us to be humble. And because, being humble leads to, grace of God. So yun yung pinapractice namin. Actually, going here, nag-usap kami, meron kaming conflict.
Addressed an issue.
We addressed an issue this morning while driving towards here. So, kumbaga parang sasabi ko sa kanya, love, ang galing, no? Kumbaga parang isipin mo nangyari sa atin to 5 years, 7 years back. I'm sure mag-aaway
Kaya
tayo.
bumaba na sa sasakyan nun, di ba?
Exactly.
May naglakad na pa uwi.
Tama.
Siya, may grasya
So
talaga.
siguro yung humility lang na kailangan mo mag-apologize. Ikaw palagi humingi, especially for us men, na tayo dapat yung magpakita nun.
Wow.
Imbis na sila. And it's hindi sa atin yun eh.
Yeah.
It's not from us and it's from the Lord. So yun yung recipe siguro for us to be able to, continue our marriage.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much because that's a message that Maricel really has to you. So, maraming salamat, VJ and Camille. Thank you so much for joining us. With that kind of spirit, wow. Ano ba yung podcast? Staying afloat?
Staying afloat.
You will soar.
Soar.
Right? You will soar. You will not whimper your
Lilipad.
way. You will wow your way to
My
the finish
God.
line.
Yes.
Maraming salamat, VJ and Camille, dito po sa ating Marriage is a Marathon. So thank you again, VJ and Camille. Maraming salamat. As you enter the next phase of your marathon, we know that you will not only stay afloat, but you will soar and wow your way to the finish line.
Yes.
God bless you. See you next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Marriage is a Marathon, the podcast, Season 2.
This episode was shot at Midnight Dream Studio.
For feedback, suggestions, questions, please comment below. And don't forget to follow us on our socials, Anthony Pangilinan and Mommy Maricel.
Run it one step at a time. See you in our next podcast, and God bless you.